All right, Zay, sometimes I tell you Longhorn fans that watching your basketball team is not work. It's enjoyable. Whew, Saturday was work. That felt like work. Watching them play in Knoxville like that. You broke it down really well earlier in the show, but they really did get, bum rushed, out physicaled, out toughed, and you could just feel that Tennessee had an edge about them, like they didn't want to be anywhere else on the planet. And it felt like Texas could have been 10 different places.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, they play with a certain edge that Texas didn't match, and that just shows how good Rick Barnes' crew is. That's a team that could win the Natty this year, and the Horns, you were a little disappointed with what they brought to the table, especially with your main guys. I mean, Marcus Carr, he got into a funk early with his foul trouble. Timmy Allen, he really struggled, which he usually struggles with really athletic, longer wing guys. And that's what Rick Barnes' crew has a lot of. But if he's only going to get you 6, that's never a good sign. Talking with Joe Cook, and I asked him, should Coach Terry insert Sir'Jabari Rice into the starting lineup and maybe take a Tyrese Hunter out? Well, that might not be the answer, and Joe put out some really good stats with their smaller lineup. You might want to look at Dylan Mitchell and say, look, guy, you got 11 minutes last game. You're a starter. You're not really giving us much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know that you play hard, but you got to be productive also. And he didn't give you what you need somebody of Dylan Mitchell's caliber to give you. Now, neither did Dylan Dessou, neither did Christian Bishop. So all the big men really struggled.
Right.
And, Kamwa was really good for Tennessee. Jordan James, he was physical down low, and the Horns losing the rebounding battle 38-24. That's a serious problem.
That was bad.
Second chance points on the offensive end for Tennessee just came too easily, and then the Sakai Ziegler just completely outplaying Marcus Carr and Tyrese Hunter. That can't happen either. He put his foot on the gas, and that really showed with what Tennessee wanted to do offensively, and he was a force taking those guys out the game defensively along with Vescovi. So tonight, you're not going to see that same physicality. Scott Drew's crew, they don't have that. They want to shoot a lot of threes. If their 3 guards aren't hitting, then you have a really good chance. But problem is, it's hard to focus on all 3 of those guys. LJ Cryer, he could get hot easily. Adam Flagler has a national championship ring under his belt. He could get hot.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lottery pick, Keontae George, he's going to look for his shot and can get it off at any time. And Scott Drew gives all 3 of those guys the green light. So tonight, you got to bring something. You got to bring a lot of pride and understand that what you showed in Knoxville is unacceptable. Who cares how good Tennessee is? If you want to get to where you want to get to, Sir'Jabari Rice can't be the only guy to hoop. He can't be the only guy to step up and play. Brock Cunningham, maybe he might be inserted to the starting lineup. I'll be okay with Brock being in the starting lineup with the way Dylan Mitchell's been playing. We know Brock, it doesn't matter coming off the bench, starting, coming off the bus, staying at the gym overnight, he gonna come ready to play. It don't matter. Brock's gonna come ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
So I continue to say every week, Chad, and it's starting to get repetitive. The freshman got to give you something. Arterio Morris, he gave you a decent 5. He had a nice little cut off of the horn set, V set, where the 2 guys are kind of at the top of the key, and the point guard could give it to both of those guys. He could do a lot in that motion. He had a nice little cut dunk and then hit a 3, but then he gave up a 3 on Vescovi, and it's like Coach Terry lost complete faith in him. Like, he gave up a 3 against Vescovi that led to a timeout, and we didn't see much of Arterio Morris for the rest of the game. Why? Like, throw the guy out there. He's going to make a mistake, but if he's going to make shots and, get dunks and stuff, like, why not? You just need something else. And I know it's game to game, but just looking down the line, you're going to need those freshmen to give you something because the conference is just too deep. There's too much parity going around. You're going to have those nights where Timmy Allen and Marcus Carr aren't going to do well. So who's going to step up? And I think it's going to be key for those other guys to step up. And it's not just the freshmen. It goes back to Dylan Dessou. It goes back to Tyrese Hunter. He's got to give you more than what he's been giving you as of late. Yeah. Ever since Chris Beard's been gone, he's just not been what he could be. and having Zakai Ziegler expose him the way that he did, like, that really has to irk Tyrese Hunter. Hopefully that irks him. I know he has pride. I know he's talking about all the haters. He had an Instagram post last week saying, "Okay, y'all talking about me. Y'all stay around when I come back. Who gonna be around when I start getting buckets and start playing like I did at the beginning of the year when we saw the Horns beat Creighton and Gonzaga? We need that Tyrese Hunter, and this is a game where you got 3 good guards coming at you, LJ Cryer, Adam Flagler, and Keontae George. I'm looking for the Horns to step up tonight and get them a big win.
8 o'clock tip, Texas and Baylor. Somebody texted, Marcus Carr gets into more funk than Bruno Mars. All right, there you go.
He's been playing well.
No, he got himself in you said it earlier, but I mean, he got himself in so much trouble with that early foul, and then it becomes an early 2 fouls. And then it was to the question we asked last week, oh my God, if he can't get you 20, who is going to get you that? And it was only Rice that was able to do it. The starters did not give them enough. One thing I was going to ask you about Coach Terry. We've talked about Coach Terry trying to really take this team over to get comfortable where you feel like it's him. And the last couple games we've been giving him his love for, like, okay, this felt like we've had some fans texting us. Hey guys, I was at the Moody Center. It felt like he was the head coach. Like maybe for the first time this year. It's been feeling like he's trying to work it out. For you as a fan, Zay, what did you think about him dealing with runs at Tennessee and maybe in other games too? Do you like the way he's dealing with, do you call a timeout? When do you call it? When do you let them try to play their way out of it? And then personnel stuff like you're talking about. Where do you think Rodney Terry is on all that right now?
I think he's doing an all right job. I mean, I think it's still a work in progress where he's trying to figure out the best rotations and the best lineups in different situations. Like, that's a tough thing to do. It is, but
Yep.
that's his job. That's the role. That's what he has to do. I think from game to game, you gotta realize that sometimes you're going to have to play big and sometimes you're just going to have to play small, and you can't, some guys are just going to have to swallow their pride and understand, hey, tonight might not be the minute I get, tonight might not be the night I get a lot of minutes. That just is what it is.
Mhm.
I thought that going into Tennessee, the big men had to play well in order for them to have a chance. No one,
Right.
all the 4 big men, even Brock Cunningham. Throw Timmy Allen in there too.
Yeah.
5 big men from Timmy Allen, Christian Bishop, Dylan Dessou, Dylan Mitchell, Brock Cunningham. All 5 of those guys were awful.
Yeah, you didn't need to match them size for size. You needed to bring some of it though.
Right. And then go back to what you were saying earlier, the edge. When Josiah Jordan-James blocks your shot and fouls you, and then says something crazy to you, Dylan Mitchell. I'm not saying you go Dennis Rodman and throw a haymaker at him, but get back in his face. Like, hell no.
Right.
That's kind of how it was the whole game. Just Zakai Ziegler, yelling in the crowd, getting in Dylan Dessou's face when he plucked him. Their old big man, big number 33, I can't pronounce his name, him getting in Brock Cunningham's face when Brock Cunningham was the one that fouled him. Just Tennessee had a different edge last night, and then it was kind of like an intimidation factor with the crowd, 20,000 going crazy. They just played with that, and it seems sometimes the Longhorns don't. Like we saw it with Iowa State, which that's when I said, Coach Terry, you needed to get that tech where Caleb Grill just completely dirty moved, butt checked Dylan Mitchell on the ground, complete dirty move. That was a tech moment, but that was also a game where they got out physical. They weren't the more physical team.
They've let themselves get pushed around now a couple times.
Yeah.
They got to stop. That's the part that's got to kind of stop because this is such a physical conference. They're going to deal with games like that. One of the most famous Rick Barnes stories when he was at Texas was the game, I think it was at Arizona, I believe is where it happened, but the moment where he turned to the team and said, let's go pick a fight. And I think they actually lost the game, but they put up a hell of a fight. And it felt like Rick Barnes said that to his Tennessee team right before tip. Texas just didn't want to fight.
No.
And that's a problem. In this conference, you got to return fire. You're about to play this Baylor team that, oh, by the way, hates you. Capital H, hates you. Scott Drew puts that into them and his fan base or whatever, and they would love to beat you in your place, and then you're going to play the 2 Kansas schools. You can't play afraid, and you got to match physicality in this conference.
Yeah, and I hate saying the team played scared. I hate saying the team played timid, but that Tennessee squad, they were just meaner. Yeah. They were just nastier.
Texas was never really there.
Like, some people don't understand when I say that just New York swag that Zakai Ziegler plays with. That's a different game up there. It's the Mecca for a reason. Them fools, they hoop in 15-degree weather. Like the day that we got out here at the ATX, that's good hooping weather.
No problem.
That ain't no problem. That ain't nothing for Zakai Ziegler and Marquise Noel out of Kansas State, point guard for them, they're about the same size. He from Harlem. That ain't nothing to those guys.
That's take the sweatshirt off kind of weather.
Yeah. It ain't nothing.
No, he was so the intensity he brought to the game was so impressive to watch.
Oh my god!
And I was with you. I think we're talking about kind of the same moment, but that moment where he starts yelling at the crowd.
Yeah.
I at that moment, if he could have, I would have told Rodney Terry just take his team off the floor. Like, you're done.
Yeah,
it's over.
Yeah,
you're not winning this game.
I think it became 38-24 at that moment, and it was just the whole sequence that happened. Like the 3-possession sequence that happens. Like Zakai Ziegler looking Tyrese Hunter right in his face, dribbles to him, and shoots the 3. Like it's nothing. So disrespectful, Chad. That's so disrespectful. If you hoop, you know how disrespectful that is to be a defender and have somebody go shoot the ball in your face at the 5'8" stature, came around, plucked Tyrese Hunter, got the ball, out-hustled him to the ball. Tyrese Hunter fouled, and then that's what you mentioned,
and
Jack.
then he just
yells into the crowd.
Oh,
I might as well just turn the TV off right there. If I didn't have to work, if that wasn't a work thing, I would have just turned it off and said, oh yeah, Texas is losing this game.
And then
what's the point of watching this?
That's 20,000 people exploding at that point, and you just knew. You knew the Longhorns were in trouble. Let's see what they can do tonight against Baylor. 8 o'clock tip, 7:30, the pregame time. Quick birthday shout out. How about this round number? This will make you feel old because a member of the Fab Five turns 50 today. Jalen Rose is 50 years old today, Zay. Oh my God.
One of the cleanest lineup haircuts in NBA history, especially nowadays that he's on the 4-letter network and doing other things as an analyst. But yeah, we talk about a trendsetter at 6'8", point guard, lefty. He was good. He was underrated.
Oh my God, he really was.
He was good. You talk about his Michigan days. Go back and watch that, which one thing that I do in the summer, I always just watch old NBA film, like in hardwood classics and stuff. I love that stuff. The 2000 NBA Finals, he was their best player on that Indiana Pacers team.
The Pacers team that lost to Kobe.
Reggie was trash. Right? Reggie then do Chris Mullin, all those guys, Mark Jackson, they were all old, Rick Smith and stuff. Yeah, they lost to Kobe and Shaq, but one guy that was killing, and he did do some dirty stuff that game by pulling the Sasha Pachulia on Kawhi Leonard. He did that to Kobe and kind of knocked Kobe out for a little bit.
I forgot about that.
He admits it too. He admits it. He said, I did it on purpose.
He messed up the landing?
Yes. Yeah, I did it on purpose.
Wow.
Trying to get Kobe out the game. We're trying to win a championship here, which I respect, but it's flat out dirty.
The other influential thing, I did this a couple years ago. I started asking myself why there's so many Jalens in college football and college sports. I think Jalen Rose is the inspiration for a lot of kids being named Jalen.
Do you really?
I do, because I can't come up with another guy that would have crossed over. And think about those other Fab Five guys. They all have kind of generic names that were already out there. Chris, Ray, Jawan, never really, you don't see a lot of that. Dude, there's so many Jalens out there right now. Go look up and down your football rosters, your basketball rosters. There's Jalens everywhere. I think it may be because of Jalen Rose. And then he goes on to be a well-known broadcaster as well.
Yeah.
I think people just like the name. And I think, he's a handsome dude. Always has been. Good-looking guy, good game, does good job broadcasting. I think he's also created kids' names. Not the kids, but the names.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Some kids.
I can see that.
I don't know how many kids he's created. But name-wise, I think it's Jalen Rose.
Who's Jalen Rose pops? He was like a big-time NBA player, but
I don't know.
Jalen doesn't claim him.
Oh, see, I never knew that story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crap. I should know this.
Didn't know.
Somebody let us know.
50 for Jalen Rose today. I'm going to feel old, so I'll make y'all feel old on that one. Why today matters. We do it every day about 2:30. Up next, Stems and Seeds. If you haven't heard the latest on Kellen Moore, we will let you know, and we'll get you set for Ball Don't Lie and then Texas basketball tonight on the Horn.